Hello, this is Professor Alberto Espinosa for iTech 630 455. In this lecture, I'm going to show you how to build use case diagrams. This is actually very easy. So hopefully we'll do this very quickly. So I have the Visio screen here, and in order to do use case diagrams, what you need to do is open this template, the UML use case template. If you don't see this template here, just go to the categories and then select software and database, and it should be here somewhere. Okay, so either way, be sure you open the use case modeling template. For starters, this comes in a landscape format, so I'm just going to change that by clicking on design. I'm changing the orientation to portrait. I prefer it better this way. So we're ready to go. So what we're going to do is, this is the diagram we're going to build. It's just a quick drawing exercise. This is the diagram that I have in the class exercise for today on Blackboard. But take a look at it one moment. We have 6 use cases. The title is called ATM system. We have 4 actors: customer, bank manager, customer account systems, and ATM service rep. We have 6 use cases. Following my convention, I number the use cases, so we're going to do the same thing here. So I'm going to be flipping back and forth so you can take a look at the final diagram as we draw it. So let me go back into Visio. So the first thing we need to do is put a system boundary. So we just select this subsystem symbol, and that will give us a system boundary, and then we can expand it to fit nicely on the paper. Okay, we can always fine tune later, and obviously this is going to be too small, so I'm just going to zoom in so that you can see what I'm doing in the whole diagram here. So I'm going to double click on name, and I'm going to call this ATM system. And once I do that, system, I'm going to go home and I'm going to center it, and then I'm going to expand the font to something that I like. I like 16 points or 18 points, and then boldface it. We're going to do an ATM system here. Now I need to have 6 use cases in the diagram, so I'm just going to put one here. And it comes in blue with no borders. Of course, you can use these attributes here to change the appearance of it. I'm just going to double click here, and I'm going to name it UC01. I'll type the full name of the use case in just 1 minute because I want to show you something that I do. You can click here and select the field color that you want, or the line that you want, or whatever you want. Once you're happy with the way the use case looks, I like to select it and do Control-C to copy, and then Control-V to paste. And then I start pasting all the use cases that I'm going to need. In this case, I'm going to need 6. So let me do Control-V to paste 6 use cases. Okay, so I have my 6 use cases here. And notice that the line expanded for some reason when I was doing it. So let me just bring it back to what I wanted. So now that I have these 6 use cases, I'm going to name them. We have the first use case is going to be cash withdrawal. And notice that the name expands and the bubble expands with it. So that is the first use case. The next one is make deposits. The next one is transfer balances. Okay, the next one is a little long. It says inquire customer activity. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to double click here, and I'm going to put UC04 inquire. Sorry. And the rest of the name says customer activity. And what I want to do is I want to put in the next line. So right where the cursor is, I hit Control Enter, and that gives me the next line. Okay, and I'm going to type customer activity. Okay, and the next one is going to be monitor ATM activity. So I'm just going to double click monitor and Control Enter to go to the next line. And the last one is going to be replenish cash. Use CO6. And I have all my use cases. Okay. Now I'm going to bring an actor here. And for my taste, this actor is too big, so I'm just going to make it a little smaller here. And now that I have the size I want, I'm just going to copy and paste. And I know I need 4 actors, so I'm going to just put them a line there. Control V. Control V. So I have my 4 actors. My 4 actors are named Customer Bank Manager. I'm going to just double click on this, Customer. Double click on the actor. Double clicking allows me to give it a name. So the next one is Customer Account System. Notice I did a Control Enter to go to the next line, and ATM Service Rep. Okay, so all we need to do now is put the connections between actors and use cases. Unfortunately, we have a couple of lines here, dependencies and associations, but if I bring this line in here, and if I right-click and select Format Shape to put the arrowheads, I get a little formatting window here, but unfortunately, when you select association or dependency, these arrows don't appear, no matter what you do here. I've been trying to get the arrows to show up, and they don't. As you can see, the line doesn't change. So I'm going to get rid of this, and I'm going to use a different thing. And in the process, I'm going to show you a little useful thing to know. I want to use what's called a dynamic connector. Dynamic connectors allow you to have arrowheads. So I'm just going to, I don't see it here in the set. So I'm just going to go where it says More Shapes. And I'm going to select Visio Extras. And by the way, you can borrow symbols from any of these templates and put them in your diagram. I'm just going to go to Visio Extras. And in here, I'm going to select Connectors. When I select connectors, I get a whole bunch of templates in here that I can use now. And here's the dynamic connector. So I'm going to draw the dynamic connector. I'm going to bring it into the stencil. You can see it has an arrowhead. Now, when I drop it, the arrowhead disappears. But since I have the Format Shape pane here open, I can come in here and add the arrowhead that I want. I'm going to select this arrowhead, and I'm going to use that. Now, let me go back to here, because I told you cannot use dependency or association because you're not going to get the arrowheads. If you don't want arrowheads in your use case diagram, then that's okay. You can use that line. But generally speaking, at least in this class, we're going to be using arrowheads, so none of these lines really help. The most common mistake when drawing use case diagrams is to use the generalization line. It's tempting to use this because it comes with an arrowhead. But actually, that is not an arrowhead, that is a generalization symbol. And if you draw your lines with that hollow arrowhead, and you have somebody who really understands UML in the audience, you're going to get them very confused, because generalizations has a very special meaning in object-oriented modeling. So please do not use this symbol. Also, they include and extend symbols. Also have arrowheads, but they're used for something else that we're going to see later in the class, in the semester, so don't use that. Again, get the connectors and use the dynamic connector. That's the proper symbol to use in this case, and then go back to the UML case symbol so we can continue drawing the diagram. So in this diagram, we have the customer is connected to UC O1, O2, and O3. So let's do that. I'm going to take this line and connect it to the frame here, and then connect it to the frame here, and now I have those connected. Now, since I already put the arrowhead and everything in here, I can take this line, for example, and make it a little thicker if I want to. Okay? Okay? Or I can make it black if I want to. Okay? I'm going to leave it the way it is. But I'm just showing you, if you want to have a different design, you can change all of that here in the Format Shape window. So once I decide on what I want and I change my attributes and the appearance of the arrowhead, again, I select Control-C to copy, and I do Control-V to paste. This is the quickest way to get your diagram going. Just keep hitting Control-V, keep hitting Control-V, and do all your lines. Okay. So we have now the bank manager is connecting to the transfer balances. Okay. And then we have 4 lines going to the customer account system. So I'm going to take one line. And again, I'm doing Control-V multiple times to get the arrows that I need. And now I have all these lines, and I have one more that is actually goes the other way around. So I'm going to flip it around and connect it from the service rep to UC05 and UC06. So I have all my lines. I don't like the way this looks too much, so I'm just going to do a little fine tuning here. So I select the symbol and use the down arrow key until I put it in the place I want. I can do the same thing with this. I can select it and go up. Now I am going to misalign it just on purpose, just to show you a little trick. And I'm also going to take this, I'm going to misalign it just 1 second to show you that trick. This one seems to be in a good place. I'm going to select this one and use the down arrow key and kind of like get it in a good place for the diagram, all right? But I'm going to move this out here just to misalign it, just to show you what I want to do. So if you want to format your diagram and make it look nice, you can just select a bunch of objects and then select Align, Center, and it will immediately align them vertically along the center. I can do the same thing with this. I can select all of this, select one, and Control-click selects the other one, and I can align it to the center and then move it to wherever I want to. And I can do the same thing with this whole thing here, including the frame, the title, everything. I'm just going to align center and everything's nicely aligned. The only thing I need to do here is just move this so it looks nice and neat. Now if I want to copy and paste this to Microsoft Word, I select Control-A, that selects the entire diagram, then Control-C, that copies the entire diagram, then I switch to Microsoft Word and I can select Paste, Special, and then select Picture Enhanced Meta File, and it'll create this diagram. I'm not going to do it in mine because I already did it before when I created this document, but now you know how to do that. Once you're finished, be sure you save your diagram, give it a VSDX extension, and we're done. You have your use case diagrams. Quite simple. Okay, thank you very much.